Hi Jags fans, it's Andy the Mackem Jag. Didn't expect to be back on the vlogging this early. However, there have been quite a few moves in and out of the club since the end of the season, so I thought it was worthwhile just doing an initial vlog, and then we'll see how the rest of the summer goes. Apologies for the lack of voice. I've just wasted an afternoon watching Sunderland in the League One playoff finals, and if anybody wants Jack Ross back in Scotland, please leave a message, because the sooner he leaves Sunderland Football Club, the better it's going to be for people who are my friends in this city and who want to see the club doing well. An absolute disgraceful performance. I'm a Jag, but it hurts me to see Sunderland doing as poorly as they did. Comprehensively outplayed from start to finish. Jack Ross is a one-trick pony. He's had the biggest budget in League One. He's had the best squad in League One. He's a manager who hopes to get 1-0 up and see it out for 90 minutes. Simply not capable of doing that. So Jack, if by some miracle you see this, get out of Sunderland, never come back. Preferably don't go back to Scotland, because there's always the worry that one day you could end up with Partick, and I certainly wouldn't want you anywhere near Partick Thistle. So pack your bags, get out, find somewhere else to go, and just live your life under a rock somewhere. You're not liked here, so good riddance. Anyway, back to the Jags side of things. Been quite a few changes personnel-wise. I've got a little bit of paper in front of me because quite a lot happened. A few notes that I've made and a few things I'd like to discuss. First of all, Scott McDonald. Oh dear me. I'm genuinely very disappointed that he's left the club. I'm not surprised one bit. It was a fantastic opportunity for him. And Scott, I wish you absolutely and utterly all the best. Without you, towards the end of last season, I have no doubts whatsoever that we would have been relegated. You were absolutely superb. You're clever. You're a natural goal scorer. You scored, 7 goals, I think it was, by the end of the season. Similar number of assists. You were tremendous. So whilst I would have absolutely loved you to have stayed at the club and spearheaded the campaign, I wish you all the best for whatever you do in Australia, because you deserve all the best from Jags fans. You were absolutely tremendous. So thank you, Scott. I hope great times lie ahead for you for another couple of years, and if you were ever tasked to come back to the club, I would hope the club would welcome you with open arms. You were an absolute boon to our football club, and thanks for help keeping us up last season. It's been tremendous. Thank you so much, Scott McDonald. Ryan Williamson. Interesting one. I don't really know a great deal about him. Dunfermline didn't finish the season well. They're one of the poorer teams in terms of form as the season progressed. They were pretty safe, and I think they almost sort of sat back on the laurels and didn't really do anything. Probably realised that relegation wasn't going to happen, watched the top 4 build up too big a gap, and looked like a comfortable team. I'm pleased that Ryan wants a new challenge, and hopefully Firhill will bring on that challenge. And Gary Caldwell's recruitment to date has been more hits than misses, so fingers crossed. Welcome to the club, Ryan, and I hope you do really well. Christy Elliott, dear me, that was disappointing. I know he was offered a decent contract, and what a reflection of Scottish football that Carlisle United can pen better terms and possibly even offer better prospects than Partick Thistle in the Championship in Scotland. But that's the way it is. Even League 2 clubs in England will generally pay much better wages than Partick will. So again, Christy Elliott, you've been a good player, and I do wish you all the best. Hope things go well for you at Carlisle. And it's another player that, if the opportunity came to take you back to Partick, I don't see why not. You haven't really done anything wrong. It's just a bit disappointing that you're not going to be part of next season's promotion push. Shea Gordon, wow, that's tremendous news. Now, I'm saying that in terms of avoiding injury, playing as well as he did since he came back from the Greenock Morton game onwards. He was a real boon to our club, and I'm sure I said it last vlog, he's been tremendous. He's a box-to-box player, bags of energy, eye for goal, doesn't make foolish mistakes, knows what he wants to do, knows what he needs to do, and does it effectively. Welcome to Partick Thistle, Shea Gordon. You could be one of the best signings of the Scottish Championship this season. I'm really pleased you're here. Read the story in one of the Scottish papers yesterday about what you did with a dad and a son with the football boots and stuff. Brilliant. I'm just delighted you're at our football club. So that is a really positive piece of news for going forward for next season. Joe Cardle, I'm in two minds over that. I haven't really seen enough. I don't think any of us have. You know, he hasn't had that many starts. Again, Gary Caldwell must have seen something in him that he thinks is worthwhile. So again, welcome to having an extension offered, and I just hope that with a full season, you know, we can see the best of you, and if the best of you helps us to push for promotion, possibly have a little run in the Scottish Cup, then again, fantastic. You know, I do wish you the best, Joe, but I'm not saying I'm with doubts. I'm just not sure enough yet, and I think a lot of Jags fans perhaps feel the same way. But as always, leave your comments. You may well not feel that way. I'm a little bit concerned about the Blair Spittle situation. Having read that both Livingston and Ross County are after him. You know, Blair, if you see this realistically, Livingston, do you really see that's a step forward? I appreciate they've had a really good season in the Scottish Premiership. They stayed up. A lot of people wouldn't have bet on that. They would have said St Mirren were probably the likelier of the two teams to stay up. Ross County, again, you know, they finished the season well. They got promoted. They were the best team in the Championship. Is it really a step up from Partick Thistle? I really hope you stay for another season, because I think you could be a guiding light towards getting us back to the SPL, and I just hope you stay. You know, if somebody can offer better terms and you want to move on for whatever reason, again, we've just got to accept that. But I will be disappointed if you leave our club. There was a sort of list of players who hadn't been retained. Who did we have on that? Let's have a look. Suleiman, Kulabai, never really got involved. You know, I wish him all the best, but I'm not quite sure what he was going to achieve at Partick. It just wasn't working out. So all the best, son. I do hope you do well. I don't wish you any sort of hardship or poor performances. But I'm really not going to miss you, and I think most Jags fans would feel the same way. Niall Keown, had your moments for the club, well down the pecking order. I think you'd wanted to leave after we got relegated. Not good enough. That's how I feel. Thank you for the effort you put in at the club. You certainly put the effort in. I just don't think you were good enough, you know, and I don't mean it sort of totally disrespectfully. Sometimes that's just the way it is. So all the best, whatever you do in the future. But I'm not going to miss you at Partick Thistle Football Club. Ali Roy, again, not really used much, not really much in the way of contribution. Doesn't look like the sort of player that Gary Caldwell wants. And again, no hard feelings. You had your time here. Thank you for what you did do for the club. But it's another player that I'm neither here nor there about. If you'd stayed or gone, I'm not really bothered either way. Miles Story, that's a little bit different. Miles put a lot of effort in at our club. The one criticism that I've got of him is that for a player who puts in as much effort and runs around as much as he does, you don't necessarily get a great deal of end result from him. Not enough goals for my liking. His crossing of the ball wasn't particularly good. Certainly, you know, an impact sub, bit of a threat up front, bit of pace and stuff, good. But again, I'm not going to knock Gary Caldwell for basically saying, you know, sorry mate, time's up, no further contract. I think he will get another club. And again, you know, I think he's done his best he can for Partick. So again, I wish Miles Story all the best. I hope you have a decent future. It's become pretty obvious who I'm leaving to last. The most controversial one of all, and it raised questions when he did his Gary Caldwell did the talking. Chris Doolan. He's a club legend. That's not going to change, and Gary Caldwell's right to say that. If you judge him what he's done over the last couple of seasons in terms of goals scored, contribution, you know, this is one I can't really win. I would have liked to have seen him stay. Perhaps another season and say, look, you know, you've had two, by your standards, poor seasons. You know, final go at it, chomp at the bit, see if we can get you a little bit fit. We didn't look fit all last season, in fairness. But I just don't think he suits what Gary Caldwell's after. So the decision doesn't surprise me. I can't thank him enough, and I'm sure everybody watching this would feel the same way. He's been an absolutely brilliant player for our club. Has he been as good over the last two seasons? No. Is it because he's had a lack of opportunities? Perhaps partially. But I'm going to go along with Gary Caldwell on this one. I might regret saying that. I'll probably get a lot of abuse for it. It's how I feel. I actually feel the loss of Scott MacDonald more than I do Chris Doolan in terms of what I think he would have brought to the team. So Chris, I can't overemphasise how much I personally feel about you. I think you're an absolute legend. We know how the club, you know how the club feels about you. You'll always be welcome at Firhill. Even if you're playing for the opposition, we'll raise the roof for you. That simply won't change. So Chris Doolan, thank you very much for everything you've done, and I wish you all the best. And I know I'm not just speaking on behalf of myself for that, right? You are a Firhill legend, and that simply cannot be taken away. It'll never change. So I wish Chris Doolan all the best. A few other little bits and pieces. Hey, what a shock! Shock and horror. Celtic won the treble. Dear God, never saw that one coming. Would that be the single treble, or the double treble, or the treble treble? You know, if I were a betting man, I'd possibly bet for next season for the treble. However, you've gone and lumbered yourself with one of the most useless managers in British football. He's rubbish. And I'll tell you something, if I was a Rangers fan watching this, and certainly watching that appointment, I would be rubbing my hands with glee. Even with a budget 3 or 4 times what Rangers have got, with Neil Lennon at the helm, you're going to be challenged a lot more next season. You're not going to have things your own way, right? I think it's a shocking appointment by Celtic. And if you know, you can have a go at Brendan Rodgers, you lovely green and white lads, but he's 1,000 times better than Neil Lennon. I think you've made a mistake, and I think you'll pay for that next season. I'd love to get you in a cup game with him as manager. He'd probably be sent off in the first 5 minutes. Saying that, man, you did beat Hearts. Ryan Edwards scored, which disappointed me, but I was pleased to see you beat Hearts at the end. I'm not a big fan of either club, but the fact that Ryan Edwards, oh yes, I'll leave Partick and I'll win trophies. Yeah, tough luck, Ryan, you won out. Okay? Once a traitor, always a traitor. You're not a player I've got a lot of time for. Now, in terms of Gary Caldwell's talking with the fans, I think it was very good. A lot of it was very technical. It was a shame that people weren't given a mic to ask the questions, so half the time I wasn't sure what he was being asked. But he came across as very professional. He certainly seems to know what he wants. And that's a reasonable starting point. Although Jack Ross knows what he wants, get a 1-goal lead and hold on to it. I'm hoping Gary Caldwell won't be quite as negative as Jack Ross. So I was pretty impressed by what he did. It took a bit of courage. He answered the Chris Doolan question well. And I think we've got to give him a chance. I haven't been his biggest fan. I was hugely disappointed in the way results went up at Christmas. He told the board he can get an extra 10% out of the players, and I don't really feel he did. But I can't argue with his recruitment, and if he still has 2/3 of that budget left and can make as many good signings overall, on the balance most of them have been positive, if he can do the summer's business, hit the ground running and not have a dreadful start like we always seem to do, then there is real hope for next season. And I'm looking forward to that season with a great deal of optimism. I'm not going to make any predictions because you know what my predictions are like. So that's where we're at. So there's been a lot going on. You know, I hope this generates a little bit of discussion. As and when more signings come along and big news for the club, I'll be straight back on. But as always, Jags, it's great to be back in touch. I really am missing the matches at this moment. You know, we've got the Champions League to see and a couple of bits and bobs, but not a great deal happening. Oh, and by the way, Steve Clarke, tremendous at Kilmarnock and the right choice for Scotland. Right, if Scotland are going to get back on their feet. If they can, then Steve Clarke's the man to do it. Right, I don't like Kilmarnock. None of us do usually at Firhill, but I can't argue with how they finished the season. You know, he can turn a pig's ear into a silk purse. I think he's a tremendous appointment for Scotland. So I wish you all the best, Steve. Okay, it's the Mackem Jag signing off, and look forward to further vlogs as pre-season continues. Come on, Red and Yellow Army.